Hello everybody, it's time for a new topic of Ryan Gaming. Today's topic was submitted by Chris Jackson 54 on PSN. He says, "Hey Ryan, I was wondering if you could do a Ryan Gaming topic on my topic. My topic is, what do you believe makes a game the greatest game of all time? The GOAT, basically. Thank you for taking your time to read this. Keep up the good work and have a nice day." Now, I don't remember what I was doing on the 28th, but I'm going to assume I did have a good day. Now, Chris Jackson, I got an issue with you right now off the bat. I'm going to do your topic, but at the same time, you had to be well aware of the fact of what this video was going to be and how it was going to turn out. I don't have a concrete answer for this. I mean, come on, this is this is video game discussion on the internet. You want me to tell you what do you believe makes the game a game the greatest game of all time? Do you realize how if I actually tried to answer that in like a factual, like precise way, that's not going to go down. This is video games. On the internet, that is like a complete like shitstorm flame bait kind of idea. Like the greatest game of all time, or at least the possibilities of what could be determined the greatest game of all time, that is in no way, shape, or form determinable. That is in no way, shape, or form ever going to be agreed upon. That is in no way even going to be slightly agreed upon in terms of like what elements makes a game the greatest of all time. I don't know, at least for me, I'm the kind of person that will always be like hands off the topic in terms of like, you know, I will always be humble and I'll stay back and I'll be like, listen, like I understand, you know, something's maybe I like it, but it's not for you. Hey, you like that a lot and I get that, but it's not for me, blah, 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 blah. All that kind of like understandable stuff. It's one of those things where like, you go to like an IGN top 25 article and the comments are nothing but people bitching about the list. Like there's literally not one person in there that thinks of themselves like, hey, good list. Not my cup of tea, but good list. No, everybody wants to argue about what the actual list is of the top 25 PS3 games are, the top 25 Vita or PS4. Like there's no clear-cut answer to any of that, dude. It's all opinion-based. Completely 100% opinion-based. People don't seem to ever understand that, really. I don't have any clue why. Maybe it's just that most of the sane people are lurkers and don't comment. It just seems like most people that do take the time to comment on stuff like this are just, I don't know, in some way, shape, or form, mentally insane. Maybe they're crazy. I don't know. I don't know why people don't get the fact that opinions are opinions. But listen, it's tough. There's no real way to answer this. There's no way to even get close to answering it. Even when you want to be a little bit concise in terms of like what does make a game like a really, really great game, because it's different for so many people, right? I mean, my favorite game is not going to be your favorite game. Same with Joe Schmo number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Everybody's got their own favorite game that they consider the greatest of all time. There's always like big heavy hitter games that like a large majority of like the gaming community can agree upon that is like definitely like really good games. Like, I don't know, Mario 64 or Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Last of Us, a recent example. You know, a lot of Legend of Zelda games. A lot of people consider many of the Legend of Zelda games to be fantastic, amazing, incredible games. BioShock 1, like me personally, is like a really heavy hitter game in my opinion. You know, their first Metal Gear Solid, like, but it's just so tough, right? There's just no way to even try to consider one of them the greatest, but it's like, you see what I'm getting at, right? There's definitely a lot of games that always crop up in terms of like when you're talking about a really, really class A product kind of game. There's a lot of usual suspects that will crop up in a discussion like that, and this kind of goes back to a topic, a previous Ryan on Gaming topic, where it was, you know, are certain games actually overrated? And that topic was about how people will talk about these games like Last of Us or Mario or Zelda or Metal Gear 1 or Castlevania or any sort of usual suspect that a lot of people consider to be a really amazing AAA, amazing, super awesome game, right? And I always tell people, like, when it comes to that, people will say, oh, that game's overrated. And I think to myself, like, is it overrated? Because it seems like the only reason why we're talking about it is because people really like it. So it kind of went into question, like, what's truly overrated and everything and blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, dude, like, a conversation like this is so tough to have. The only thing I can tell you is what I consider to be, like, a really awesome, you know, Class A game. And that goes into, like, if you go to my, like, review videos, I have a score template in the review videos that I personally wrote. It's how I score games from like 1 to 10, and each number has like a certain ranking of like what I believe to be that game. And if you look at a 10, I always consider a 10 to be a game that is not perfect. No game's perfect. A 10 does not mean the game is perfect, but a 10 certainly describes a game that speaks volumes about our industry, a game that is above and beyond all sorts of elements of, you know, gameplay, presentation, story, music. Everything just hits an incredible high note, and it's the kind of game that we'll talk about in the next 10 years, and we'll talk about how it sort of shaped the games industry and redefined certain moments in the games industry and really made a name for itself. And it's something that we'll never truly forget. And I think there's a lot of games that are that. There's a lot of games that are like a 10 in my book. Again, my 10 isn't going to be somebody else's 10. My idea of what I just said is not going to be somebody else's idea of that. Everybody's going to have a different idea of that, and I think that's the most important part about games and games discussion, is that, you know, we'll never agree on something, but that's what keeps the conversation going. Anyway, Chris, I hope that answers your topic. It was definitely a good topic. It's just the kind of topic we can't answer, but I guess we did answer because I gave you this 6-minute video now. But either way, thanks, Chris. Awesome topic. And by all means, anybody, if you have a topic for me to be on, because it's right on gaming, if you have a topic, I will get on that shit, no doubt. Anyway, that about does it for me on this episode, and I'll see you all in my next video. Take it easy, guys.